Thank you for listening to the Business Blast podcast. So for all my listeners out there that have been wanting to do your own podcast, I'd like to introduce to you Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing, and monetizing your podcast. So before I found Anchor, I had never actually done a podcast because all the research that I had gathered made it seem very complex. Then I found Anchor, and Anchor makes podcasting extremely simple. So if you want to do your own podcast, go to anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today I have Nelson Guerrero with us. He's the Executive Director of Cannabis Cultural Association. So welcome to the show, Nelson.
Thanks so much for having me, Tyler. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Pumped to have you here. We'll dive into the first one. The first question I have for you, Nelson, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
3 years ago, I really wanted to jump into the cannabis space, and I cold emailed the biggest dude in the industry, Aaron Smith, and he got back to me and gave me an opportunity to volunteer at one of his events, and I told him what I kind of wanted to do in the space, and he said, just go for it. And through persistence and resilience, here we are 3 years later with a nonprofit that's doing some great work both here in the States and internationally, really just changing the stigma and educating people about this plant and what it's doing for ourselves as people and our economy.
Yes, man. Dude, and it is amazing to just see how much it's grown since last time we met in person. So congrats on all that. The next one I got for you, man, is what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Compliance. This is the cannabis industry. You don't know your rules and regulations, you will get shut down. You could go to jail, and they can seize your assets. So when it comes to this industry, be well lawyered up and make sure you're following everything to the law of the land. You know?
Yeah, that's good advice.
That's the best advice I can give anybody who wants to do anything in cannabis.
And what is your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. Always know what the opposition is working on and doing, so that way you're never blindsided by anything that's coming your way.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Don't sell your Bitcoins in 2012.
I love that. And in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
Just being around great people that make you happy and doing work that also keeps you happy and doesn't make you miserable when you wake up in the morning.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
I think I'm going to go with your book, Tyler.
Nice.
Conference Crushing, and that was to don't be afraid to cold email someone that you probably have no reason to be emailing and wait for a response.
Dude, thank you, bro. And it worked out for you, so it's awesome to hear that.
Yeah.
And and I think too, I'll chime in real quick on that just because it's the book, but basically, I think more people should do that because it works. There's a track record of it working, me, you, so people.
It's ridiculous. And so many people that I've met at Next Gen have ended up doing the same thing. And next thing you know, it's I have a great relationship with such and such industry type.
Yeah, it's huge, and you just can't be scared to do it. So,
yeah.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. I feel like that's a story of my life at this point.
Yes, brother. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is where is the best place for people to find and or connect with you online?
Yeah, at Nelson A. Guerrero at every major on social media and LinkedIn, and then at Canna Cultural. That's the Cannabis Cultural Association's handle on all the social medias as well.
Perfect, brother. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, brother.